You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are you recording?
We are recording.
Okay.
Okay.
On your mark. Get set. Go. And I made him watch.
Intermissions.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, so here we are.
Back at Intermissions.
Yep. Intermissions
Finally.
episode. Finally. It has been too long.
Way too long. We've been meaning to do them. It's still a lot to handle.
Yeah. I apologize profusely, and I promise to give myself a nice flogging later.
Ooh. You
Yeah.
want some help?
Maybe. So today on this Intermissions episode, we're going to be talking about Robert Eggers' Nosferatu.
Yes.
Came out Christmas Day, 2024. We went and saw it.
On Christmas Day at
on
420.
Christmas Day, 420,
Blaze it.
And we're going to discuss what we thought about it. We're going to talk about the cast and crew, the story, the execution, and just what we overall thought about it. So stick around. This one's going to be one to die for.
Wow.
Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Anyways. So first off, let's start with just talking about Robert Eggers for a second.
Okay, go ahead.
We have seen a few of his films thus far. There's a few that I haven't seen, more so than I have. We really loved The Lighthouse.
Yes.
And to be honest, I don't recall seeing any of his other films. Like, I haven't seen The Witch. I haven't seen The Northman. Am I missing some?
Probably. I mean, I don't really pay attention to a lot of that stuff. That's not my thing. That's you retaining random facts and knowledge. I enjoyed The Lighthouse. I watched it before I had you watch it.
Yeah.
Because it was something that was spreading on like my algorithm and my feed and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that seems like my type of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, William Dafoe, Robert Pattinson. Ooh.
I loved it.
It's such a good story. It's visually very appealing and lovely. So I mean, and it's crazy. Again, like he knows how to tell a story in a very chaotic but eerily calm type of way. Yeah. And I appreciate it, especially for The Lighthouse.
I truly enjoy when filmmakers take other works of art, like, Renaissance paintings or whatnot, and then replicate that in the frame. That we saw at least one instance of in The Lighthouse, where, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen The Lighthouse, go see it. There's a scene where Pattinson is on the ground and Dafoe is standing over him, and he's naked. He's bare, because he's essentially a demon or some sort of entity or something like that.
Yeah.
And his eyes have turned into these they're almost like headlights.
They're lighthouses.
It's a lighthouse. Yeah. And he's like staring at him and stuff. But that I don't remember the exact work of art, but there was a painting that was just like that Eggers used to kind of piece together and stuff. So, and you see a lot of that same thing in Nosferatu as well.
Yeah. The framing.
The framing, the visuals are just stunning in
spectacular,
Nosferatu.
Honestly.
So, but yeah, I mean, I really do need to sit down and watch some of his other films. And then there's also talks of his upcoming projects and stuff. I'm not sure if it's been confirmed or if it's just a rumor right now, but there's talks of him doing a remake of The Labyrinth.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about that a little bit last night.
A little bit. We did. It came up and we talked about who we would expect to play Jareth. And there's no one that will ever be able to replace David Bowie. in any sense or form, either his musical career, his art career, or his acting career, or any of the other things that he did with his life. And I think one of the most famous and iconic characters people from our generation know him from is Jareth the Goblin King. It would be some really big boots and bulge to feel. I would imagine, because Bo was never a very buff type of person. He's kind of tall, kind of lanky. I think my first one I said was Timothy Chalamet.
Right.
But I feel like the character would need to be a bit older than Timothy, because there is an age gap within that relationship. That I feel is an important touch to the story in that movie. And then I think my second would be Andrew Brody. Adrian Brody. Because, he's got tall. He's a little more older, but, I definitely could see. Also, he's done work in musicals, I do believe, as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you would still need to have that musical aspect of Labyrinth in the iconic songs, if not renditions of those songs. So I'm excited to hear more information about it and follow that project as it develops.
Right. Right. I think my pick was, and don't hate me for this, but I think I chose, what the fuck is his name? I'm blanking on his name now.
Oh, I also mentioned Bill Skarsgård as being a replacement for Bowie, which I don't know if Bill can sing, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if I've heard him sing yet. I mean, I feel like Bill is too much of a scream king these days. Like he's getting into a style. Yeah. And I could see him trying to shy away from it in the future because he doesn't seem like the type of actor that appreciates being typecast into that sort of role.
I mean, I'm not going to assume anything because I don't really personally know the guy, but I think if he has enough passion for a project or he finds something a really good idea, he's that type of actor where like, yes, I want on board. So I guess it really would depend on the script.
Yeah. Yeah. My pick for Jareth, the Goblin King, was Harry Styles.
Oh, that's right.
And I think the reason was because everything I've seen him in, he's just kind of bubbly, not bubbly, just sort of like eclectic. He kind of fits the build, the personality I feel like is there. Yeah. I feel like he could do a lot with the role.
I think he could. He also, you can see the inspirations he takes from Bowie. A lot of artists do that. Yeah. But he did, what was the album? It wasn't Harry's House, I don't think, but the one before. His costuming and style for that album was it borderline on that femme type of feel that Bowie had throughout his working days. Right. So I can see that. I'm not sure if he would be old enough to play the role.
I mean, maybe, but I don't feel like Bowie was very old when he played it.
He was like in his 30s, like late 30s, early 40s at least, I think. I'm not saying, because of the age thing, I want to just clarify, I'm not saying that is an absolutely must have for that movie, but when it comes to Sarah and Jareth, and that the age gap was something important about the lesson in that movie. Right. But yeah, I mean, whoever plays, I'm sure will be a great fit,
True. At any rate, we're getting off topic.
we need a little off topic. That's fine. That's okay. It's intermissions. That's the point.
Yeah. So Nosferatu.
Yes.
Directed by Robert Eggers.
Yes.
The writing credits were Eggers himself. He wrote the screenplay for the film. Inspiration for that was from Henrik Galeen, who wrote the original screenplay for Nosferatu,
and
1922.
then Bram Stoker.
And then, of course, inspired by the novel Dracula by Bram Stoker.
It's a ripoff Dracula.
And obviously, I don't want to get too deep into the original Nosferatu because we're planning on doing an episode on that. But obviously, like those of you that have seen the original Nosferatu, watching this movie, sitting in the theater watching this movie, you will see, and it's not a shot-for-shot remake. It just takes a huge amount of inspiration from the original Nosferatu.
It's the same plot.
Yeah, the story is the same. It's just told from her perspective.
Yeah,
from Ellen's perspective.
It involves a lot of Helen, and what is happening around her, and she is the main focus of this story.
Yeah.
Lily Rose Depp did an amazing job, I would say. The way she told the story of this character of Helen is so bizarre, because you have these very big emotional and mental breakdowns of Helen, and then the next moment Ellen, sorry, did I say Helen?
Yeah, you've been saying Ellen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ellen. Sorry, I know the character's name, I swear. God damn it.
She swears she watched
we watched the movie. But Ellen, she has these major mental breaks, emotional breaks, and then suddenly she's fine. She has these a roller coaster of emotions. And Lily Rose did an amazing job of portraying that and really embracing the insanity that comes along with playing Ellen. Because she's having a mental break.
Yeah.
She is haunted by this dark spirit that she made a deal with when she was a child, and it has come back to haunt her.
Well, so that is a part of the story that Eggers tells in this version of Nosferatu that wasn't really told in the original Nosferatu. But so in this version, Ellen was imprinted on by Count Orlok previously. And now, some odd years later, he's come back to essentially
claim
her.
Yeah.
So our cast, star-studded. It's almost an ensemble cast, I would say.
Yeah.
So we have Lily Rose Depp in the protagonist of Ellen Hutter. Excuse me. Nicholas Hoult plays her husband Thomas. We have Bill Skarsgård, obviously, as the Count Orlok. Aaron Taylor Johnson plays Friedrich Harding. Willem Dafoe is Professor Alban Eberhard von Franz, which he's your Van Helsing character. Emma Corrin is Anna Harding. Ralph Ineson is Dr. Wilhelm Sievers, and Simon McBurney plays Knock. So, from my perspective, the entire cast did an amazing job. Obviously, I feel like there were some standout performances. Nicholas Hoult, for example, when he initially sees Orlok at the dinner table in the castle and stuff, just the fear in his face, he just is terrified.
You have this Victorian culture where you are pretty much supposed to be perfect all the time. Your manners need to be perfect. You're not supposed to burden anyone with your issues. You're supposed to keep, the doors shut, blinds closed. And you find yourself in a situation where your politeness and your need to be accommodating to everyone, especially if it's your job. He finds himself having, taken all the right steps in society to be in immense danger. And even as he realizes it, he still continues with his good manners and his, almost servitude to Orlok. And it was very alluring to watch how Nicholas Hoult gradually became more unraveled.
Yeah.
And I have been a fan of Nicholas Hoult since Skins. I've watched his career since like the early 2000s, and I am extremely just ecstatic for his career and how it's taken off, and all the movies he's been in since like forever ago.
Yeah.
Like starting in X-Men as Beast.
Yep.
And then I never saw Renfield because
I didn't see it either. Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it. But you know, he's an amazing actor, and I'm kind of, I don't want to say proud because I don't know the guy, but I am. I'm proud of his work and how far he's come from, you know, being on like a little BBC teen drama to like fucking working with like William Dafoe and Lily Rose Depp and being like, you know, in a movie like this.
I mean, my initial I guess introduction to him was X-Men as Beast. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, he just seems to be on this, you know, path of just greatness. I mean, even when he was in Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh yeah.
Like he was really good in that as well.
He was. He didn't have a very big or long role in that one, but the character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, his performance in this film was by far one of the best performances. He's
always been a very talented person.
Yeah.
He puts his foot forward. You know what I mean? Like, I was very impressed by his acting and the character and how he did everything in this movie.
But
very impressive.
Then you have Aaron Taylor Johnson. This guy, my introduction to him was Kick-Ass. You know, playing this 13, 14-year-old kid. And
that's
then
crazy.
You see him in things like, you know, him being Quicksilver in Age of Ultron. He was Bullet Train, where he was, what was his name? Tangerine or something like that. And Bullet Train, I can't remember.
Oh, shit. I can't remember either. It was something like that.
Yeah, him and what's his name? Brian Tyler Henry or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Which, to be fair, he is not British.
No.
Aaron Taylor Johnson is.
Yes.
But, you know, anyway, so his performance in this movie was really good as well. And I really like...
Okay, so Aaron Taylor Johnson is Tangerine in that one. And then Brian Tyree. God, I cannot fucking read.
Oh, he's Lemon, isn't he?
He's Lemon, yeah.
That's right. Bullet Train was such a good movie. If you haven't seen Bullet Train, go see it.
Also, if you've never seen Atlanta,
bro.
Brian Tyree Henry is in Atlanta. Atlanta is one of the best shows.
It is a great fucking show
you have ever watched. If you have not seen Atlanta, you are not living life correctly. I had to say that. Okay, I had to put that out there.
Him and Lakeith Stanfield. Just knock it out of the fucking park on Atlanta.
Amazing, beautiful.
Okay. So, anyways, Aaron Taylor Johnson is great. Willem Dafoe.
Always.
I mean,
crazy nut job.
Do you really even have to say anything about it? I mean, I think what the craziest thing to me about him in this film is him acting with Lily Rose Depp, because if you've stuck with Willem Dafoe's career long enough, you go back to like Platoon, 1986. He was in Platoon with Johnny Depp, who is Lily Rose Depp's father. He was in Crybaby with Johnny Depp, Lily Rose Depp's father. So like, see, it's almost like this full circle thing where he acted with her father. Now he's acting with her.
Yeah.
And he's even said in interviews like she did an outstanding job. Like, which I feel like a lot of people were kind of skeptical because of the whole Nepo baby thing.
Yeah, I understand that. I can understand that in when that Nepo baby has no talent.
Yeah.
Or has gone through any educational to be in the same career as their parent. Lily Rose Depp has got some talent. She's gonna do things with her career, and I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, and she did such an amazing job, especially with the accent and stuff, because obviously she's not British.
No.
But she does such an amazing job with the British accent where it's hard to tell that she's not British. Even the roles or the scenes that she had with Nicholas, like I saw an interview where she was saying that
she was worried about the accent. He said, you know,
like you couldn't tell the difference or anything.
Yeah.
On top of that, you've got Emma Corrin. The only thing I've seen her in was Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
She played Cassandra. But even in this film, like, she did such an outstanding job playing opposite of Aaron Taylor Johnson. Like, you know, her fear that she portrays, especially in the scenes where the plague starts happening and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the scene with the rats, like, and also those rats were not CGI. They had 2,000 trained rats on set. That scene, the scene, you know which one I'm talking about. The scene where she has the rats on her. There were 36 rats.
Oh God,
in that scene. And
that is a lot of rats.
Yeah, so I could only imagine, like, you know, if one of them just happened to get fucking frightened or whatever and like just nipped at you or something like that, like
ugh, that's horrible. That is horrible.
But yeah, so let's talk about Bill Skarsgård.
Okay, we could talk about Bill Skarsgård.
A lot of people were upset about Orlok in this film, and I feel like,
oh my God,
I feel like it's because they were expecting Max Schreck Count Orlok.
Yeah, they were expecting lanky, bald, plain looking type of Nosferatu.
Yeah, and even Eggers said, like, they didn't want to rehash the same old stuff. Right.
I mean, in the book, from what I've read and stuff, they pulled off the original, like, Count Orlok with his, you know, almost bald head, bald temples, and then the hair. And then he also is mentioned that his eyebrows are really bushy and that he has a mustache. Yeah. So he held true to that and made it realistic instead of just painting, you know, Bill in some white paint and a bald cap and some teeth.
Well, so Eggers really did his homework for this one.
Yes, he did.
They went back. They didn't want to do a traditional vampire. They wanted to do folklore-based vampires from when people actually believed in vampires. And trying to develop the character of Orlok, they wanted to do a more nobleman, like a Transylvanian nobleman, like what they would have looked like, you know. And then the whole, like, folklore established vampires, they weren't all, you know, glittery in the sunlight. They were walking putrid corpses. Yeah. So that's what you see in this movie. And I think they just did such an outstanding job with his character. He said that he lost somewhere like 60 pounds for the role. The only part of his body that wasn't glued to something was the soles of his feet. Yeah. Like, so the whole thing was phenomenal.
Yeah. And I think it's implied or mentioned that the Count probably died from some sort of plague or disease. And that's one of the reasons why his connection to the plague and the rats and everything. And also you can see that his body, when you actually finally get a detailed look, because throughout the whole movie, Orlok is dressed in shadow. He is this mysterious force, and his physical appearance is masked up until hours into the movie. Yeah. And his body is just so grotesque. It's got like these pock marks and open, like, round sores. He's emaciated. He is just falling apart. And you also, it could have been like TB or tuberculosis because he also has a struggle like breathing.
Yeah.
He does this type of thing.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with the plague part because obviously, like with the plague, it being such an infectious disease, it probably would cause you to have issues breathing and all that stuff. But yeah, like just his overall presence in the scene, like it's just so stifling.
Took over everything. His energy. When you see Orlok in any scene, he is. Even if he is like out of focus, he is the main source. He takes the energy from the room and just sucks it up.
Yeah.
He did an amazing job to give this being a just creepy and old, and you almost feel a little sympathy for him almost. Because it's a story, it is like a love story. It's this unrequited love story. Because when you have Lily, Rose, and Bill on the screen together as their character, as you know, Ellen and Orlok, they have a very intense connection. And it becomes, he wants to be physical.
Yeah.
And it was really intense.
Yeah.
But God.
What's crazy though is at the end, she has to willingly give herself up to essentially defeat him.
Yeah, and pretty much save the world in a way.
Because up to this point, the city of Visburg, which is a fictional city, they have just been at the mercy of this plague.
Yeah, since he arrived.
Yeah, and the only way to save, you know, whoever is left is for her to give herself up willingly. You know, so I love how they kept with the inspiration so closely. There are some differences in that end scene from the original Nosferatu.
Obviously, yes.
But for the most part, a lot of the same plot points and stuff are still there. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a great movie. The visuals were really great.
The visuals were amazing. You have these amazingly like shadow drenched shots. And a few of these scenes, when they do it at night, they do lots of like very wide like sky shots. And how they did this, that this sky is illuminated with the full moon, and you know that you can tell, but they never show you the moon. They never show you that light at all. It's all focused on the darkness and the shadow.
Yeah.
Which is also a very major point of who Olok is.
Yeah.
Is he's a shadow, and they mention his shadow so many times to be wary of his shadow.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful. The shots, the cinematography for this it's amazing.
Yeah. Cinematography was done by Jaron Blaschke. He's been with Eggers for at least 3 films. He did cinematography for The Lighthouse, The Northman, and The Witch.
Oh, okay.
So a lot that we saw in The Lighthouse has been brought over to Nosferatu. So that's why we see a lot of the same style of visualization.
And, you know, Lighthouse was, you know, shot in black and gray.
Yeah.
And Nosferatu has almost a monochromatic type look to it. Because it's the Victorian area. It's winter in Europe and Germany. So you have a lot of dreary like gray lighting. And everyone's kind of washed out in their colors and stuff.
Right.
So it's.
I kind of felt like they did, at least the nighttime scenes are mostly monochromatic. And it almost felt like that was a homage to the original Nosferatu being black and white. But at the same time, like it lends its hand to really making those shadows and stuff pop. We see a lot of the visualization of Orlok's hand as it creeps over the town.
Ugh.
We see it creeping over her, Ellen. So there is a lot of symbolization behind him being that shadow.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very, very impressive. So
how do you feel about the sexual, like, innuendos and implied sexual frustration?
I mean, I felt like it was well placed. I felt like it had purpose behind it because, like I said, like the story is supposed to be him imprinting on her and then trying to claim her later on as his, bride essentially. So obviously there's going to be sexual tension behind that. At least from his side. She doesn't necessarily want it, but she has to meet him with it to defeat him essentially.
Yes.
But I mean, I don't feel like it was out of place. So
I did feel when Ellen becomes like possessed and has the fits where Olak is trying to control her or affect her in some way. I found it really hard to watch the movie when she was having these fits and having people giggle.
Oh yes.
It was very annoying because she's having these very intense possessions, and in a way her body is twisted in these very erotic kind of poses and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just, people are so immature.
Right, because it's supposed to show that he is in control of her.
Yeah.
And people just didn't understand
They don't understand it. They see the sexual implications and they giggle because sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the most annoying thing.
But I mean that's just part of the story. Like I think one of the complaints I heard the most that bothered me so much was, oh, it's too much like Dracula.
Yeah, when we
don't say.
Well, before we left, I like ran to the bathroom like you do after 2.5 hour long movie, and yeah, there were women in the bathrooms, talking about Dracula. They literally called it Dracula, and they like were laughing and stuff, and were like, I don't really like it. It was kind of weird. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you're closeted.
That's yeah.
So, real quick, before we wrap things up, I'm just gonna go through some of the trivia that they have on IMDb for this movie, which is kind of interesting because, like, so for starters, the exteriors of Orlok's castle were filmed at Hunadora Castle.
Ooh.
Which is also known as Corvin Castle, a Romanian castle located in Transylvania.
Oh.
And one of the largest medieval castles extant in Europe. What's more, it's the castle where Vlad Dracula was briefly imprisoned.
Oh, nice.
So
that's
the man
pretty
himself,
fucking sweet.
That is sick.
That is pretty fucking sick.
According to Bill Skarsgard, his voice was the aspect of the part he worked at hardest. Spending 6 weeks before shooting, not doing, quote, much else than just record myself. And on set, I would keep doing these exercises. It sounds kind of like Mongolian throat singing. It's insane. I do know he said he worked with like a operatic voice coach to drop his voice octaves. And watching the movie, you can hear it coming through.
Yeah.
And him rolling his R's and stuff, like
beautiful.
Dude,
that make your heart flutter, Troy?
It's skin tingling is what it is. Some of the castle scenes were filmed in the Pernstein Castle in the Czech Republic, which is the same location that was used for Werner Herzog's film Nosferatu the Vampire.
What was the budget for this thing?
I would imagine hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hold on, I'll look it up real quick. The budget was $50 million.
Nice.
And right now, the box office, which it hasn't even been a week yet, is $26.4 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
People don't understand good art.
I know.
People just don't get it sometimes.
oh well, that's their loss. Too bad, so sad. Something even more interesting, producer Chris Columbus, who, if you didn't know Chris Columbus, he directed Home Alone.
Yeah.
So that's interesting in and of itself. He said Bill Skarsgård was so terrifying in costume that he couldn't even approach him on set.
Oh.
That is until Skarsgård made everyone laugh. Then Columbus knew Nosferatu had a sense of humor.
Oh. Sweet. A little cheesy, but okay.
Kind of cheesy, I guess, And then last but not least, Bill Skarsgård was originally cast as Thomas Hutter, as Holt's role. However, during the film's long pre-production development, director Robert Eggers decided to recast Skarsgård as Count Orlok himself. In an interview with Skarsgård, Eggers said that he felt that the recasting was to make the sexual subtext between Orlok and some of his victims even more convincing.
Ooh.
Which is interesting, coming from
I wonder who was originally cast as Orlok.
I don't think he originally had anybody cast as Orlok. I think when they were originally, because to my knowledge, Eggers started the screenplay for this back in 2015.
Yes.
And so it had been in development hell for quite some time. So I don't think that he had anybody cast as Orlok initially.
Yeah.
But I like that he brought Skarsgård back for Orlok. I mean, obviously we've seen Skarsgård as Pennywise. He was in Castle Rock.
He plays a really good, like, creepy guy. Did I ever make you watch Hemlock Grove?
No.
Okay, that's where I was first introduced to Bill Skarsgård as Hemlock Grove. He also plays a vampire.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. At least he had experience doing it already. So that's good. So at any rate, that is Nosferatu.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Check in. Let us know how you're doing.
Go watch Nosferatu.
Yep. If you don't, we'll know.
We will know. We'll come for you.
We'll come in the night.
We're actually in your closet right now. Open the closet.
Red rum. Sorry.
Okay.
Anyways.
We're not really in the closet. Don't sue us for harassment. Thank you.
But yeah, we finally put out an Intermissions episode again. We're hoping to do another Intermissions episode of Terrifier. All about Damien Leone, David Howard Thornton, Terrifier.
That's my series.
Yeah. It's such a great series. If you haven't seen them, I highly suggest watching them.
We are big fans.
Yes. Do not let your kids and or small animals watch.
No, this is not a child's movie.
No. But yeah,
please.
Hopefully we'll have that here for you shortly. But at any rate, thanks for listening to And I Made Him Watch. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, etc. You can also chat with us on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. None of that Twitter.
None of that Twitter bullshit. We fuck that place.
And maybe TikTok if it's still around. I don't know.
I don't want TikTok to go away.
But yeah. At any rate, that's all from us here at And I Made Him Watch. And as always, stay spooky.
Bye. Cut that off, please. Don't keep that. Please cut that off.
No, it's going in.
No.
It's going in. Bye.